Gambling God back with you for your fixed NHL, your review for last night. NHL, only 4 games last night. New York Islanders at Tampa. I told you to take the Islanders when a team like that is plus on the money line. I grab them all day long. New York Islanders go in and defeat Tampa Bay, a winner for the Gambling God. Hope you had the Islanders. Columbus at Washington. I told you Washington. Columbus went in and beat them. Their games are fixed. The entire series last year was fixed in their favor. I told you to take Washington. They were like minus 200 and change, 224 over Columbus. They did not cover. They got their ass beat in. Sorry about that one. A loser for the Gambling God. That one was clearly fixed. Washington does throw games. I say this every video. Please be aware of that. Washington throws games. Next, Boston, Ottawa, my pick of the night. My sweethearts, Ottawa, undervalued by the bookies and the sports books. They defeat the Boston Bruins. I hope you had them. I told you to take Ottawa to defeat Boston last night, and that's what they did. A winner for the Gambling God. Last but not least, Calgary, Colorado. Calgary goes into Colorado and wins 5-4. I told you to take the over. These are high-scoring teams. A rematch of last year's playoffs where Colorado swept Calgary out of the playoffs. I liked Colorado. Calgary went in and won. I split these. I told you to take Colorado. That was a loser, but I did tell you to take the over. That was a winner for the Gambling God. Next, tonight, a full slate in the NHL, starting with Tampa at Florida. Tampa Bay at Florida. Florida is good at home. I like Tampa's team. Tampa looks like they're rounding into form. Florida's tough at home. I'm going to take Florida. It's a tight one. This game very well could go over. These are two very good teams. Florida will be in the playoffs. Tampa will be in the playoffs. They might be in the finals this year because the NHL has to give back to them. In this one, I'm taking Florida to defeat Tampa Bay. Tampa just lost at home to the Islanders. A lot of people are going to jump on them thinking Tampa can't lose 2 in a row. Ask the Cowboys, ask the Patriots if that's the case. The Cowboys have lost 3 in a row. The Patriots have lost 2 in a row. And Tampa Bay, now coming off the loss to the Islanders had lost 3 in a row on their Western swing. So these teams can and will lose multiple games in a row. They will take you down the drain with them, into the toilet, into the sewer. You will lose your money. You will lose your marriage. You will become a drug addict and an alcoholic. This is what people tell me. Gambling God. Next. So we take Florida to defeat Tampa Bay. Montreal and Pittsburgh. Those of you who know me know I will not take Pittsburgh. They throw games. They disappear. Malkin and Crosby go into the into the shadows when you need them most. I like Montreal. They're a good team on the road, plus on the money line. Give them to me all day long. Montreal beats Pittsburgh. Screw the Penguins. St. Louis goes into Buffalo. My pick of the night. I will take St. Louis. I have not been able to get on the right side of them all year long. I will take them tonight. Buffalo will win. In any event, we are taking St. Louis to defeat Buffalo. Tonight, St. Louis goes into Buffalo and wins. Craig Binnington shuts down and possibly shuts out Buffalo. San Jose at Nashville. No surprise here. I will not take San Jose. Their goalie is blind, Anthony D. I am sorry, but Nashville defeats San Jose. Nashville is a very good team. They are playing at home where they play very well. Most teams play much better at home. San Jose, they just stink. They lost 2 games this week by a combined score of 12-2. They lost 7-1 to Tampa. They lost 5-1, I think it was, to Florida. They're a bad team. They lost their captain, Anthony D. Anyone he roots for is just, they just stink. He likes the Lions, the White Sox. It doesn't make any sense to me. So San Jose goes down to Nashville tonight. Anaheim at Minnesota. I have to take Minnesota. They're finally home. They were on the road for what seemed like a month. I'm going to take Minnesota. God let Anaheim go in there and win. Every time I went against Minnesota, they would win. Now they're home against a team they should beat. Watch Anaheim beat them. Anyway, I am taking Minnesota back at home after a long East Coast swing down to Florida and back up the coast into Carolina. Minnesota's finally back home. Take the Wild to defeat the Ducks. They're going to give them a nice quacking. Detroit at Winnipeg. This is your upset special. I'm not saying Detroit's better than Winnipeg. I'm not even saying Detroit's going to beat Winnipeg. But I do think Detroit gives them the scare of a lifetime. And why? Because it's fixed. That is the theme of all of these videos. I am not giving you these picks based on athletic ability. It has nothing to do with that. I see a team like Winnipeg minus 252 on the money line over a team like Detroit that's okay on the come up, but not there yet. And I easily could see a team like Detroit taking a 1 or 2 goal lead just to scare the shit out of the people that have Winnipeg so that they hedge off. Do I like Winnipeg to beat them outright? Do I have enough confidence to say that they're going to do that and tell you to put your hard-earned money on them? No. But I will tell you, try Detroit on the money line for a few dollars and then watch the game. If Winnipeg gets down, then you will get Winnipeg with some value. Winnipeg likely will win this game, but there's no value at minus 252. Just like last night with Washington minus 224 at home against Columbus, there was no value there. There's no value in Winnipeg minus 252. They're a very good team. This game likely will go over. I can see Detroit scoring some goals. Winnipeg certainly will. I like Detroit as a value play. I don't have full confidence they're going to win the game, but they're more of a value play here than Winnipeg. If you want to get frisky, grab them on the money line for $25. What else are you doing with it? You don't need gas for your car. Who gives a shit? You don't need to eat either. So New Jersey at Dallas goes along the same lines. I like Dallas. At minus 202, it's decent value. It's not great value. It's decent value. You want to lay 200 to win 100? I could live with that. Laying 250 to 100 is a little heavy for me, even in my heyday. I've done worse. I mean, who am I kidding? But, Dallas at minus 202 is a decent play here. New Jersey is a dangerous team. They've gone on the road. They've beaten Winnipeg in Winnipeg. The NHL is completely topsy-turvy and upside down. Any team could beat any team on any night. It doesn't matter who the hell it is. I don't give a shit who's in net, who's not in net, who's playing, who's not playing. If you got 6 guys, 5 guys, 4 guys, 2 guys, it doesn't make a damn difference. Unless you're San Jose because your goalie is fucking blind. Anyway, Jersey at Dallas. I will take Dallas to win, but I think one of Dallas or Winnipeg tonight will lose. One of these big favorites is going to go down, my opinion. I'm hoping it's Winnipeg because I like Dallas, but it easily could be Dallas. There is value in New Jersey. There is value in Detroit. I think if you take one of those on the money line, take both, one of them will hit. My opinion, my experience, I was a fucking degenerate. I used to bet all these frigging games. I'm telling you, I would see it happen all the time, and I am monitoring this for you. After the show, I check the scores. I check the trends. Who's in, who's out, who's up, who's down. Are the Giants ahead? Are they behind? What's the money line? On the live betting, I'm tracking this. I'm looking at this. Is Jay Crowder playing? Is he having illness? Is he contributing? Who's going to get traded? Is Kyrie Irving really hurt? I'm watching all of these things for you so I can give you the best advice possible. I am taking what I used to do as a complete degenerate fucking animal, and I'm transposing it now into a professional advice for you. If you followed me last night about the Giants, you made money. You took them +9, and then when Philly went down 17-3, you grabbed Philly on the spread, and you got Philly +7. So you got Philly +7 and Giants +9, and guess what? Both of those bets hit. You show me another site that's telling you to do that, and I'll shake that man's hand. But I really can't leave the state, so I could maybe like a virtual. Anyway, so Carolina at Edmonton, a tricky one. Carolina is a very good team. They're probably the better team here. Edmonton at home is tough. I'm going to take Carolina to win this game. Not an easy pick. Very tight game. Could easily go either way. Likely will go to overtime because every game goes to overtime. But I am going to take Carolina to defeat Edmonton. This game probably will go over. Connor McDavid is very capable of scoring multiple goals against Carolina. I think Carolina wins. It will be tight. I say like a 3-2 or a 4-3 win for Carolina. But again, it could go either way. There are better games out there. Carolina is a good team and should take this one. Calgary, Arizona. I'm going Arizona. I like Calgary. They're a very good team. They just won in Colorado last night. They're very capable of scoring. They could easily win this game 3-4 to 5-1. Easily. But their goalie is leaky. I like Arizona at home. The Coyotes are tough at home. They've made me a believer. I'm going to take Arizona to defeat Calgary here. At minus 133, there's decent value. You could lay 65 to win 50 on this. That's a reasonable bet. I could get behind that. Toronto at Vancouver, a very interesting game. I like the over here. Toronto is the favorite. I will take Toronto to win. They're a more experienced team. They're a playoff team. Vancouver is not there yet. They're getting there. Vancouver could win this game. At plus 104, this game is very similar to the Edmonton game. Dallas, Edmonton, Toronto, Vancouver, Carolina, Edmonton, Toronto, Vancouver. These are very similar games. Carolina is a playoff-tested, experienced team going into an up-and-coming Edmonton team on the road, a slight favorite. Toronto is a established playoff team. They played Boston in the playoffs last year, took them to 7 games. Going into Vancouver, who did not make the playoffs but showed a lot of promise with a good young team. I like Carolina and Toronto on the road. I think one of those teams will lose because one of those home teams will grab a win either in a shootout or an overtime because every game goes to overtime. But if I had to pick a winner, Carolina and Toronto, I like the over in the Toronto game especially. Toronto scores a ton of goals. They're a very good team. Their goalie is suspect. Vancouver will score. I could easily see this game ending 5-4 in overtime or a shootout. So take Toronto, but more importantly, take the over. Last but not not least, a juicy one. Chicago goes into Las Vegas. This is really, really juicy. The NHL has used Chicago to take people's money all year long. And this is an example of what I'm telling you. I've been tracking this. Chicago went into Nashville. They beat their brains in 7-2. Nobody saw that coming. They used them in a few other games. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but I know Chicago went on the road a few times. I think it was actually in Vegas and won outright. They never trailed. I think actually it was against Vegas. They were up 2-0 early and they won like 4-1. The leagues are using certain teams that you would not expect to win, like the Washington Redskins when they beat Carolina, like the Atlanta Falcons when they beat New Orleans, and then they went into Carolina and they won. If you notice, the Redskins won 2 weeks ago, and now this past week they covered against Green Bay. Look at the Miami Dolphins. They went into Indianapolis and they won. Nobody saw that coming. And then they beat the Eagles at home. Nobody saw that coming. I saw it coming. If you followed me, you saw it coming. But the rest of America didn't see it coming because they're not thinking like gamblers. They think these games are real. These games are not real. This is fixed bullshit that people watch, drink beer, and divorce their wives over. You know I'm right. You understand that. If you're watching this, you're insane like I am. Anyway, Chicago beats Vegas tonight. Take the over. Again, Chicago has been used repeatedly to take people's money all season. Tonight's no different. The team they're playing plays in Las Vegas. Hello? They play in Las Vegas. Do you think their games are legitimate? Seriously? Does Jerry Jones look like an honest man to you? Do you really think Jerry Jones doesn't bet against the Cowboys every game? He bet the Bears. You know he did. He bet the Bills. You know he did. How do you think he built that stadium? How do you think they put that Jumbotron up there? Magic? Oompa Loompas? No. Jerry Jones bets against the Cowboys. He makes more money when they lose than when they win. If you don't believe that, you're crazy. Call me, 347-861-7776. We'll talk about it. In review, your fixed NHL tonight. Oh, and finally, last but not least, I left one out. The Rangers go into L.A. Another tricky one. The Rangers have been very good. The Kings have been tough to beat this year. They've gone on the road and they've won. They've won at home. A lot of time, man, I've picked against them, and they keep effing winning. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to take the Rangers. The Rangers on the road, they're a dog. They've been good. It's a late game. I recommend you take the Rangers. I'm a Ranger fan. I'm a New Yorker. I like the Rangers. I'm going to take the Rangers to win this game. It's a tough one. It's a tricky one. These late games are very tricky tonight in the NHL. Starting all the way at the Detroit-Winnipeg game, they're all very tricky. So in review, we're going to take Florida to defeat Tampa Bay. Montreal to beat Pittsburgh. I can't stand Pittsburgh. St. Louis to defeat Buffalo. Nashville beats San Jose. Anthony D, you know I'm right. Your goalie is blind. Minnesota beats Anaheim. Detroit gives Winnipeg a hard time and falls at the end. New Jersey gives Dallas a tough time, probably takes them to overtime. They could win this game. I'll pick Dallas. Carolina beats Edmonton. Arizona beats Calgary. Toronto beats Vancouver. Take the over in that game. Chicago beats Las Vegas. I like the over in that one as well. And the Rangers beat the Kings in overtime because every game goes to overtime. Ask the Giant fans. That's your NHL. It's all fixed. December 10th, 2019. Gambling God coming back with our final video of the day, NCAA basketball, the most fixed of it all, coming up.